My name is Mark. I am a 35-year-old man. I work as a mechanic in a small town. I never thought I needed English. In my job, I fix cars. I speak my own language every day. But last year, something happened that changed my mind. A customer came to the garage. He was from another country. He only spoke English. I tried to talk to him, but I couldn't. I didn't know the words. I felt stupid. That moment stayed in my mind. After that day, I started thinking more about English. I asked myself, why can't I speak it? Why don't I understand it? I felt angry at myself. I went to school when I was younger, but I didn't like English class. I didn't try hard. I thought I didn't need it. But now I saw that English was important. Not just for travelers, not just for rich people, but for me too. One evening, I went to the local bookshop. I saw a section called Easy English Books. I didn't know what to expect. I picked up a book called Joe's Big Day. It was short. The words were simple. I looked at the first page. Joe wakes up at 7 a.m. He eats toast. He goes to work. I could understand it. It felt strange, but also exciting. I bought the book and took it home. That night after dinner, I sat down on my couch. I opened the book and started to read. Slowly, very slowly. I read one page, then another. I didn't understand every word, but I understood the meaning. I used my phone to check words I didn't know. I read the same page twice, sometimes 3 times, but I enjoyed it. I was not just learning, I was doing something I thought I couldn't do. The next day, I went back to the shop. I bought another book, then another. I made a small plan, read 10 minutes every day. That's it, just 10 minutes. It was not much, but it was easy to follow. At work, I started seeing English words on car parts and manuals and tools. Before, I ignored them. Now I tried to read them. I began to understand more. After 1 month, something changed. I didn't need to check the dictionary so much. I remembered words. I started to recognize them in other books. I saw the word garage in many places. Tools, fix, engine, oil, these were words from my job. I already knew them in my language, but now I knew them in English too. That felt powerful. Reading helped me see how English works. I started to notice small things. He goes and they go. I am and you are. I saw these again and again in stories. I didn't need to memorize rules. I just read, and my brain started to understand. I saw how questions were made, Where is he going? Or what do you want? These questions started to feel normal. One day, I met that same customer again, the man who only spoke English. This time I smiled. I said, "Hello, sir. What's the problem with your car?" He smiled back. He told me what was wrong. I understood. I answered in simple English. It was not perfect, but it was enough. That short conversation made me feel proud. I was learning. I was growing. After that small success, I felt a new kind of energy. I wasn't just fixing cars anymore. I was fixing something in myself. I started going to the library twice a week. They had a section called Graded Readers. These books were for people learning English. Some had pictures, some didn't. Some were very short. Others were a little longer. I liked the ones that told real stories about real people. One book I read was about a taxi driver in New York. He worked hard, just like me. He had a simple life, but he met many people. Some were kind, some were rude. I felt like I knew him. While reading, I thought, this man is just like me. I wasn't just learning new words. I was learning about people, about the world. Reading was not only teaching me English, it was opening doors. At work, I told my friend Sam about my reading. He laughed and said, "You? Reading books?" I smiled and said, "Yes, in English." He didn't laugh after that. Instead, he asked, "Why English?" I said, "Because it's everywhere. It's not just a language. It's a key." I think that surprised him. It even surprised me a little. Soon, I found myself reading signs in English when I went to the supermarket. I read labels on bottles and bags. I read ads on the walls. Before, I never paid attention. Now, I noticed everything. English wasn't something far away anymore. It was part of my world. I didn't understand every word, but I understood enough to feel proud of myself. One weekend, I visited my cousin in the city. He works in a hotel. There were many tourists there. While we were sitting in the lobby, a woman came in and asked something in English. My cousin didn't understand. He looked at me. I stood up and said, "Can I help you?" I spoke slowly. She smiled and told me she lost her bag. I helped her find the security desk. My cousin looked at me like I had a superpower. That night, I couldn't sleep. I thought about how far I had come. Just months ago, I was scared to even try. Now, I was helping other people with English, all because of reading, not grammar books, not boring exercises. just simple stories. Reading taught me in a way that felt easy. It didn't hurt my brain. It didn't make me feel small. It made me feel alive. The next book I read was about a man who wanted to climb a mountain. It was cold and hard. He didn't have strong legs, but he had a strong heart. The story was not only about a mountain. It was about courage. I understood the message. Learning English is my mountain, and every page I read is one small step higher. I may not reach the top yet, but I am climbing. Now, I started doing something new. I began to write in English, just a little. I wrote short notes about my day, what I ate, what I saw, what I felt. It was hard, yes, but reading helped me. I knew how sentences looked. I remembered how people talked in the stories. So I copied that style. Soon, I was writing full paragraphs. My phone became my English friend. I downloaded a dictionary app. I made a list of new words. I saved them. Sometimes I read while I waited at the bus stop. Sometimes during lunch break. Reading didn't need hours. It needed only time and habit. 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there. And those minutes were building something strong. One day, I looked at my first English book again, Joe's Big Day. I opened it and smiled. It looked so small now, so easy. I remembered how I had to check every word. Now I could read the whole book in 5 minutes. That's when I truly understood how much I had grown. I didn't need someone to tell me. I could feel it myself. After some time, reading became a part of my life, like brushing my teeth or making coffee in the morning. It wasn't something I had to do. It was something I wanted to do. I started looking forward to it. It became my quiet time, my moment of peace. Even after a long day at work, I would sit down, open a book, and read. It helped me relax, and it made me feel smart. One evening, I read a story about a man who lived alone. He had no family, no friends, but he started reading books, and through stories he found joy. I felt that story in my heart. I didn't live alone, but sometimes I felt lonely. Reading gave me a new friend, myself. It gave me thoughts, dreams, and ideas. I wasn't just reading English. I was becoming someone new. Then something interesting happened. My boss asked me to help him read a manual that came with a new car part. It was in English. Before, I would have said no. But this time I said, let me try. I read it slowly. I didn't understand every word, but I understood the meaning. My boss was surprised. You've been practicing, he said. I just smiled and nodded. I also started watching English videos on my phone. At first, it was still hard to understand people speaking fast, but reading helped me with that too. Because I knew many words already from books, I could now hear them better when people spoke. I turned on subtitles in English, and I read as they talked. Slowly, I started understanding more and more. Sometimes I made mistakes. I read a word and said it the wrong way. Books helped me feel safe. They didn't laugh at me. They waited for me. They let me go slow. One day, I found a book that changed everything. It was called The Brave Man Who Couldn't Read. It was about a man who never learned to read as a child. He felt ashamed. He hid his problem for many years. But in his 40s, he started learning. It was hard, but he didn't stop. I felt tears in my eyes when I finished that book. That man was like me. He gave me strength. I began to dream in English. Not every night, but sometimes. I would see people talking to me. I would speak back. It was strange, but also exciting. My brain was changing. It was learning without me even trying. I started thinking in English a little bit, especially when I read signs or menus or messages online. It was like my brain had two sides now, my language and English. One weekend, I went to a second-hand market. There was a man selling old books. I saw a big box labeled English Novels Cheap. I looked inside. Some books were too hard. But I found a few with easy language. The man said, "Do you read English?" I said, "I'm learning." He gave me 3 books for the price of one. He said, "Keep going. It will change your life." He was right. Now I read on the train, in the park, even while waiting at the dentist. I don't always need a quiet place. Reading in English became part of my day. I don't need a lot of time. Just a few pages. Sometimes only one. It's not about speed. It's about consistency. 1 page a day is better than nothing. That's how I keep going. At home, my little nephew saw me reading an English book. He looked at the cover and asked, "Uncle, do you understand this?" I said, "Yes, I do." He opened his eyes wide and said, "Wow, that's cool." That made me feel proud. I wasn't just learning English, I was setting an example. I wanted him to see that learning never stops, no matter your age. Soon, I started visiting websites in English. I read short news articles. I read about cars, machines, and sports, all the things I loved, now in English. Reading helped me learn more than just language. It gave me knowledge about the world. I learned new ideas. I discovered things I didn't know before. I felt more connected. Reading gave me something else to confidence. Before, I was shy to speak, but now I had more words. I knew how sentences worked. I wasn't afraid to try. I started talking to tourists in the town. I helped a man find the train station. I gave directions in English. He thanked me. I said, "No problem," and I meant it. After several months of reading every day, I could feel the difference in my mind. It was like a door had opened. I was not scared of English anymore. I didn't run away from it. I welcomed it. I even started reading books without pictures, books with more pages. I didn't understand every single word, but I could follow the story, and that was enough. One evening, I looked at myself in the mirror and said, "You are doing something great." I never said that to myself before. I was always busy working, fixing things, paying bills. But now I was also building something inside me, something no one could see, but I could feel it. English was no longer a subject. It had become part of who I was. I remember reading a small story about a boy and his dog. Simple, short, nothing special. But the last sentence said, he read books to his dog every night, and the dog always listened. That line stayed with me. It showed me something. Reading is not just for school. It's for life. It's for quiet evenings. It's for people and even dogs. Reading is for everyone. Sometimes I meet young people who say, English is too hard. I tell them, start with reading. Just small books. 10 minutes a day. That's how I did it. They look surprised. I tell them, I'm not a teacher. I'm a mechanic. If I can do it, so can you. I never thought I would become someone who gives advice. But here I am. Now I keep a small notebook. I call it my English life. Every time I learn a new word from reading, I write it down. Sometimes I add a sentence. Sometimes I draw a small picture. That notebook is like a map. It shows me where I started and how far I've come. It's full of mistakes and progress. It's one of my favorite things. Reading also helped my writing. I started sending short messages in English on social media. Then I wrote longer posts. People from other countries replied. They said, "Your English is good." That made me happy. I didn't need to be perfect. I just needed to be brave. And books gave me that bravery, one page at a time. Last month, something amazing happened. I joined an English book club online. We read one short story every week. Then we talk about it. I don't speak much, but I listen. And when I do speak, I feel proud. I know I'm part of something bigger now. People from different countries reading the same story. It's beautiful. Sometimes I think, what if I never started reading in English? I would still be afraid. I would still feel small. I would still be silent when someone spoke English. But now I speak. I read. I understand. I feel stronger. And it all started with one small book. One simple story. One quiet night on the couch. Reading in English didn't just teach me a language. It taught me patience, courage, and hope. It showed me that I could grow at any age. That I didn't need to be perfect. I just needed to keep going. Slowly, day by day, page by page. And that's what I plan to do for the rest of my life. So if you are reading this now, and you're just starting your English journey, let me tell you something. Read anything. Start small. Don't worry about mistakes. Don't worry about grammar. Just read, because reading is not just about learning words. It's about discovering a new world, and maybe even discovering yourself.